So with left and right in mind and what we've just talked about, like, what do you think of the Democratic Party in terms of like left? And then also, do you think we have any hope for it to, um, I don't know, save us at this point?
Man, no, no, I don't think the Democratic Party itself will save us. I think if anything has any chance of saving us, and in all honesty, that is not there's not an easy black and white answer for me there, right? I don't think I want us to be saved in the way that most people would think of saving us, right? I do
Mm-hmm.
not want to go back to what we had in say 2012,
Mm-hmm.
which is just 4 years before Trump got elected. And again, while I despise the man, Trump is not the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
he is the current dictator in chief, wannabe authoritarian,
Mm-hmm.
but he is more of a puppet than anything, right? Um, I I I think if the left saves us, the Democratic Party saves us, it will be out of spite. And what I mean by that is um, Mamdani in New York.
Mm-hmm.
He is would be closer to the left of the rest of the world than the American left. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that when he's elected, because I believe he will be elected, if the federal government, our current so-called federal government, doesn't go in and completely do everything they can to fuck it up, I think it will do well. I think it will show the rest of the country that there is something other than the capitalism that we understand and know, and that it it will absolutely destroy the country as we know it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Everything we've always been taught is how bad every other form of government it is, right? It all
Mm-hmm.
causes all these other forms of governing causes bloodshed. It causes loss. While we're causing bloodshed and loss of life,
Mm-hmm.
while we're going in and completely destroying countries for capitalism,
Mm-hmm.
democracy. Um, so I think if the Democrats save us, it'll be out of spite. It'll be because they're forced to, because the American people will do what New York has done, and that is they have chosen something other than the status quo, what has always been.
Mm-hmm. You're way more optimistic than I am. Um, yeah, I got no love for the Democrats, and you know this. I just, I just feel like they're going to push another week at, well, performatively strong, like Gavin Newsom, slick hair, too much hair gel, fucking ugh. Anyway, they're gonna push that guy. They're gonna push who's another one that we're hearing a lot about here recently that's like super corporate. Am I do you know who I'm talking about? I feel like there's another one that's like kind of leading the pack
Right?
of
No, right
corporate
now,
Dems.
I mean, maybe, and I don't really think I hear him being spoken about the way they speak about Newsom, but maybe Pete Buttigieg,
Oh,
and I've
gross. Oh, you're
he
gonna my blood pressure is gonna go up having this
uh,
conversation. I can already feel it.
um and yeah, I as far as a person goes, I think I like Pete. As far as changing things, I think he's the status quo.
Oh, he's
He
absolutely
is
status quo.
he's Obama. Only,
Hmm.
he's a gay white dude.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna hate on Obama completely. I have the things about him I liked, and I have the things about him that I dislike, right? But I don't think it is actually any real change.
Hmm.
I think it is ultimately just that So when Obama was in office, I was at the point where I would tell you that they were the exact same party.
Yeah.
And that's what I told everybody. If you went back when I had Facebook and you looked at my timeline of the things I posted politically, the majority of it was that the left and the right were the same party.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that social issues are pretty much the only thing that makes the Democratic Party different from the Republicans, because anytime there's ever been any effort to provide some like economic relief of any kind, the Dems always find some dumbass reason why they can't do it. And it's just it's so obvious what the reality is. It's because their donors don't want it, and they're there for their donors. That's their job, is to uh vote and legislate on behalf of donors,
Yeah,
period.
absolutely.
And so and even with the social issues, they fail on that front too. I mean, think about how like Biden said he was going to go all in for the Voting Rights Act or police reform. You know what I mean? Like,
So
he didn't do jack shit.
the only grace I'll give both Obama and Biden when it comes to those things is, and again, it is the way our government is structured to begin with, and that is, or at least these days, and that is what you were talking about earlier, the corporate donors, right? I'm sorry, but a corporation is not a person. I don't give a fuck what they say. Um, but I think no matter what they wanted to do, and I think Biden really wanted to go further left than what he was allowed. And when I say allowed, I mean he had multiple, and so did Obama, multiple people on the American left, the Democratic side, who were fucking against him, who didn't want to see it happen. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
but
I
otherwise,
just
I would agree with you 100% on that.
are you referring to like Manchin and Cinema and how they always held up what he wanted to
As
pass
far
or
as Biden
whatever?
goes, yeah, I would say yes. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
well, I'm here to call BS on that, because
Okay.
the president of the United States has the bully pulpit. Okay. He is, and this is the problem with Democrats. They don't use their power, and they're too worried about playing nice with one another. They don't want to challenge each other. They don't, it's like fucking groupthink. Like, it's
I will not disagree
like,
with you at all
it's
on that.
so, it's so bad. And like, I'm sorry, but like Kristen Cinema or Kirsten, whatever the hell her name was, and Manchin, those if you notice, it's like there's always a few Democrats that hold up, that they can point to and say, "Oh, they're the reason." It's too convenient. It's so convenient. I swear that like it's like Democratic Party rule or something, to always make sure that there's going to be a fake ass Democrat there to get in the way of every good thing that the Democrats could possibly do. And as far as like Joe Biden goes, nah, man, when you're the president of the United States, you have the bully pulpit. It is your job to get your party in line. It is your job to tell your party, this is the deal. You're gonna vote in favor of it, or I'm going to see to it that you don't get reelected. I'm going to shame you. I'm going to drag you through the mud. I'm going to do everything it takes to make sure that you suffer for not voting for my agenda. I am the president of the United States.
So you think Biden's approach should have been more in line with Trump's approach?
Yes, I do. This is the system we've got, right? And if you're going to wield power and actually get shit done, you have to use your power. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
agree with you 100% on those things, and that goes back to even when Obama was in office. And I think his first term, he had the majority in all, he had the House and the Senate. And somehow the Republicans still seem to, as a whole, control it. They controlled what happened. Mitch McConnell is a fucking beast, was a beast. Now he can barely stand up, but,
mm-hmm.
That dude, I won't say he's responsible alone for where we're at, because that would mean that the Democrats are victims, and I don't think they're victims. Just like you were saying, they're victims of themselves. Even recently, it was either Cory Booker or Hakeem Jeffries who, I want to say, scolded, or their response. I'm sorry, their response to people who were calling in talking about, why are you not doing anything? His response was like, what do you want us to do? We're going to continue with decorum. We're going to continue to proceed. Like, basically, he was like, we're professionals. We're going to come dressed to the nines, and we're not going to ruffle feathers. Motherfucker, ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, like I have no love for that. I have no love for that kind of weakness, and like it's just, I don't know, their worship of like institutionalism and
Yeah.
civility and decorum. It's just like so gross. And like I've just come to the conclusion that it's all intentional. Like they don't care. The vast majority of Democrats, they're there for their donors. They're capitalists at the end of the day. They benefit from the current system. They're not interested in helping you or me or any common folk out. They're just not, and that's just, and I was thinking as I was writing down my stream of consciousness, like that I remembered in the first episode I admitted that I did not vote for Obama in the second, or his second run. And I was curious if you would like to know why, because I wrote those reasons down.
Yeah, please share.
Okay. One, and pretty much everything I'm about to tell you is like proof that he was a sellout and he never intended to do shit anyway. So his healthcare plan, total BS. It was Republican. It was called Romney Care. It came from, I want to say, a Massachusetts healthcare plan that like he basically replicated and just gave it to the whole country. And in his first term, he had a supermajority for part of that first 2 years, I believe it was, where he could have done so much. Like he could have pushed for public option, Medicare for all. He could have, like, again, bully pulpit. That was the time. That was the time. And then most egregiously, this is probably the number one reason that I could not vote for him again. He did nothing. And this is part of why we're where we're at today. He did nothing to punish the Bush administration for taking us to a war built on nothing but lies. He spied on us. They created black sites for rendition. They tortured supposed enemy combatants, and it just, the list freaking goes on as far as like the atrocities that the Bush administration committed. And Obama, what did Obama say to that? Oh, I prefer to look forward.
Two thoughts there. Let me so two thoughts. One, that's, and I think it's part of the bigger problem with our country for a long time, right? I'm a fan of Grant, Ulysses S. Grant. I'm a fan, but that's exactly what he did when he became president. I think a lot of where we're at today goes back to what happened after the Civil War, and I don't think the South was held accountable enough. And when I say the South, I don't mean the working class South, the people that had nothing going for them, the people that were just surviving because they could barely, or just barely surviving, because you had people who were enslaved, white people, poor whites could not get a job hardly at all, right? And that's not a, oh, we had it worse or any stupid thing like that. That is just the way it was. But the plantation owners, the planter class that had control of the US government going into the Civil War, there was not enough accountability after that.
Mm-hmm.
It was too much. The nation is tired. Let's move forward. We need to save the union. So we're compromising on these things. We're letting things go that we shouldn't in an effort to save the union. So it's a long history of that happening. And I guess the second thing is what would holding the Bush administration look like? Just kind of a broad picture for me. Paint a broad picture for me
What
of
Biden should have done, what Biden should have done the moment he got in office and held Trump accountable for the insurrection. He should have had the DOJ looking into it. Like he should have, like there's a process. Like our government allows for the process to prosecute former presidents, former office holders, whatever politicians. There is a process. Like Obama could have done something to try and hold the Bush administration accountable, because all that shit they went overseas and did, all that same shit is now happening within our borders. It laid the literal groundwork for empire to come home. And he should have been punished, if not, if he hadn't like officially done anything, like, had the DOJ look into it or whatever, like he should have never stopped talking about how, undemocratic and unconstitutional the Bush administration was. You know what I mean? Like he should have never let that go. He should have done more to overturn the things that the Bush administration allowed to happen. So, but he didn't, again, because all that stuff laid the groundwork for what we're experiencing now. I mean, ICE was founded under the Bush administration, like all these horrific things that we could never imagine happening within our borders, but, happened with no issues overseas under the Bush administration is now happening to us. But anyway, yeah, that gets me fired up real bad. So, and another thing that pissed me off with Obama is not a single banker went to jail for the 2008 financial crisis. Instead, he bailed them out. And he didn't do shit. He did not do shit for the American people.
100% agree. 100% agree.
The other thing was the Occupy movement. That right there, he could have done so much with that. But instead, he just paid a little lip service to it. It was like, I understand people's frustration. The income inequality is really bad. And, it makes sense that people are going to take to the streets when things get tough. He didn't do shit. That could have been the start of a huge, huge movement, right? But he was never interested. And then lastly, and trust me, I'm sure I could go on. The last thing is the drone war. Like any drone wars going on under Bush, he put them bitches on steroids under Obama. I mean, it's disgusting. I cannot stand Barack Obama. I'm sorry. Can't stand him.
Yeah, it's I cannot disagree with anything you said, right? My I guess rose-colored glasses is just the civility that we seem to have, and maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe the civility that we shouldn't have had then would have kept us from getting to where we're at now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if there was less civility from Obama and the Obama administration, we wouldn't be here.
Or maybe a genuine desire to help the people. Because I don't think that ever existed, because he is an elite. He's Harvard grad, or I don't know. I'm sure he went to some Ivy League school, but he's cut from the same damn cloth as all the other ones, like he's never like.
Yeah, and that's back to my point earlier. That's where when I say the Democratic Party saves us out of spite, I don't believe the Democratic Party as it is will save us.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that because, again, to get a third party in this country to actually have an impact, it takes a huge ground movement first. You can't just have I don't know, we'll call it a dog party, right? You can't have the Cocker Spaniel Party up there. You can't have a president of the Cocker Spaniel Party up there without any Cocker Spaniel members of Congress to get anything done. So everybody falls into our stupid two-party system. You're either Republican or you're Democrat. And Mamdani, I don't believe Mamdani is truly a Democrat. And I'm okay with that. But to be able to be in our political system, he has to, and that's the closest Democratic or the closest party that we have that fits, right? So, and again, I don't think it'll be that we're saved anytime soon. I don't think we're going to get Trump, whether he dies in office and, JD Bowman takes over and we're able to get Bowman out of there in 2028 and put in, let's just say fucking Gavin Newsom takes it. Okay, fine. I don't think it's a big change. I probably see that as a slightly different version of what we have, right? Because he's going to have to be a tough man to try to regain control and all that. But I think maybe as that happens, if when Mamdani wins in New York and that movement grows, right, and there's a groundswell there, and it grows outward, and the American people see it, then that will become the Democratic Party. It's not that the Chuck Schumers of the and the Nancy Pelosi's of the Democratic Party are going to suddenly change. They're going to be pushed out. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Democratic Party is in need of its own, for lack of a better word, MAGA movement.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. If you go back to the Obama administration's time, that's when the Tea Party came out, right? That was the Occupy movement happened. Well, the opposite of the Occupy movement was the Tea Party. The Tea Party morphed into MAGA, and MAGA is currently our government. They are Republican. They're not Republican in what you and I knew when we were teenagers, but they are the Republican Party now. And any Republican that was part of the Republican Party that we knew when we were teenagers is for the most part gone. And I think that's ultimately what I mean when I say if there's a chance of saving us, the Democratic Party will do it out of spite because they will no longer be the Democratic Party that we know. Right. All the people that are currently there that we would consider to be corporate Dems will be gone. Your furthest left Democrat right now, you would say is AOC and Bernie, right? Mm-hmm. I think those will be the Pelosi's and the Schumers of the Democratic Party when Mamdani's kind of the thinner version of the Democratic Party, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's ultimately what I mean when I say that they'll save us out of spite. It's because they won't have any choice. They'll be for the current corporate Dems will be forced out of position, and a new generation will take over, and it will be truly more towards the left, and you will see what's happening in New York start to grow outwards as people see that it's not the monster under the bed. It's not the monster in the closet. You know what I mean? It's not, when I was a kid, the horror movie that scared me to death was Poltergeist. So it's not the poltergeist in the fucking closet. It's actually better than what we've got. Probably better than what we've ever had. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that it'll actually be able to happen because I think there's a whole lot of fucking things that have to line up for that to happen.
Yeah. Personally, I think what needs to happen as far as like anyone who considers themselves on the left, they really, really need to start looking into leftist history, leftist theory. They need to understand, okay, you need to understand this moment. If you're feeling uncomfortable because something doesn't seem right, then that means this is your brain telling you, hey, something's wrong. Maybe everything I thought, that was everything that I thought was real. Maybe I need to like revisit that. Maybe I need to really revisit like where I stand politically so that I can understand how, like, where we are and how we got here. Right. It's so important. I can't express enough the importance of just basic political literacy and how badly the left needs it, because we call ourselves the left, but so many of us don't really understand what that means. And as far as I'm concerned, and John, I don't know if you want to get into this video, but they touch on what I'm about to say. But right now, what we're experiencing is the right wing going to the absolute extreme of what the right wing is. And where that ends up is Nazi territory. Okay. And so we, as people who are opposed to that and consider ourselves on the left, we need to answer that with an equal and opposite reaction, right? And that starts with getting informed about what the left is, what the left stands for, and then move. It's time to mobilize.